Hello world, Shelly here, and it is day 12 of the Foundation MegaFest. This is 15 days in a row of foundation reviews, as always inspired by ThaTaylaa's 15 Days of Foundation. I will link her down below, as I do on every single one of my foundation reviews. She is the queen, and today I'm going to take a look at a foundation that was requested in the comments by you guys. It is from the brand Girda Spillmann. It is a Swiss cosmetics and skincare company. They have pharmaceutical grade ingredients, and I just ordered a sample of their compact foundation. It appears to come in a gorgeous red compact. So this is a cream to powder compact. This is the Bio-Fond Deluxe Foundation, and it has been voted Foundation of the Year multiple times, used on film sets and on celebrity faces around the globe. The larger compact, 12 grams, retails for $64.99, and it contains 100% pharmaceutical grade ingredients, so skin is allowed to breathe, which helps heal problem skin. Best of all, you'll never have to worry about clogged pores. You can expect a velvety smooth finish that offers buildable coverage, so you can opt for a sheer natural 5-minute face or for full coverage application. It's hypoallergenic, non-comedogenic, and cruelty-free. This comes in 21 different shades. I've got this in the lightest pink toned shade, which is called Weekend, described as porcelain ivory. There is one shade that is probably the same lightness to darkness, but looks to be a yellow undertone, called Sand, described as a nude almond. There are 21 shades altogether. You can order samples of the different shades without investing in the entire compact, and I like that. So you can get the smaller version of the compact, which is 4.5 grams in a black compact, for $21.99, and that is available in 24 shades. The shade range does look to go from pretty fair to pretty doggone dark, so I like the variety of shades, the inclusivity of the shade range. I'm having trouble finding the ingredients. I would like to tell you if there is added fragrance, but I cannot find a list of the ingredients on the website, so we will just have to trust our noses. It doesn't smell like much, so it's not heavily perfumed at least. Let's take a look at the Bio-Fond foundation swatched against a few others in my collection. Let's swatch. First up is today's foundation, the Girda Spillmann Bio-Fond foundation in the shade Weekend, which is described as porcelain ivory. Next is the Beauty Bakery Cake Mix in the shade 51, which is described as fair with cool undertones. Third is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid in shade NW10. Fourth, I've got the MAC Studio Sculpt in shade NW15. Fifth up is the Beauty Bakery Cake Mix in the shade 41, described as light with cool undertones. Fifth is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place in shade 1C1 Cool Bone. And last up, I've got the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation in shade Light 44 Cool. I'm starting out with a 43-year-old face. I've got some sun damage on this side of my face that I like to cover up, some sunspots, some texture. I do have large pores around my cheeks here and my chin and in the center of my forehead. I have some texture here that likes to give trouble to foundation. Of course, I've got some deeper smile lines. I've got some forehead lines. We have some crow's feet starting out over here. So that is where I am starting. I have normal to dry skin. My skin is very normal at this time of the year, but it tends to get dehydrated very easily. So if there are ingredients in a product that are dehydrating, my skin will show that very, very clearly by the end of the night. Now, I'm going to go in on one side of my face with a sponge. This is the Real Techniques MCS, the Miracle Complexion Sponge. The other side, I've got my Ultimate Blending Brush from e.l.f. We will see if this performs better one way or the other. My guess is it's going to be easier to work with a sponge, because this is a compact foundation, and you can see it's like a blob of, it's not even cream, it's more of a solid because it comes in a compact, and my guess is it's going to be easier to blend out using the moisture in the sponge, but we will try it both ways. I think the easiest way to get it out of here and onto my face is going to be by finger, but I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened. I've primed with the Strivectin Line Blur Effector. I was tempted to just do half my face like my accidental experiment the other day, but the truth of the matter is most foundations will fail on my skin after 4 to 5 hours without primer, and that is why I always wear primer. So I would never go outside wearing foundation without primer anyway, so I'm gonna keep the primer as part of the review because this is the only way I wear it, and it's the only way to give foundation a fair shot. I already know that most will break down if I don't have primer on, so we're sticking with primer. So I'm just gonna rub my finger in here and try to get enough product. They say you can go anywhere from sheer to full. Let's just try for a nice medium coverage, shall we? Pretty light coverage with one pass and the sponge, but a nice finish so far. I can still see all of my sunspots poking through, but it evened out redness just a bit. And let's try the same on the brush side. The sponge side looks fine, but I find the brush to be much faster and easier to blend out. So I would recommend a brush with this. Coverage looks about the same on both sides. Either way, I still see a little bit of redness poking through. I still see my sunspots. Let's try and build this up a little. They said you can build it up to full coverage. We're not gonna go quite that far, but let's just get a little bit more coverage. This is a really interesting formula. It's definitely cream to powder, and you can almost go into areas where there are texture. And if you feel like you're having too much texture in a spot, you can sort of press product into that spot, and it's almost like spackling your face. And it turns into this really pretty powder finish, but much smoother. That said, it looks like I have makeup on my face. It doesn't look like this is, you know, my natural skin. However, that's fine with me. I think it looks really nice and smooth, and it looks really nice. I'd say I'm at a medium coverage right now. I just see the slightest hints of my natural coloring and sunspots poking through. It's really not clinging to any dry patches on my nostrils. It's doing a really nice job of blurring pores and texture. It's not clinging to the texture between my eyebrows. It's not settling into my forehead lines just yet. Overall, I think this looks very nice. Now, this being the lightest shade, it is working pretty well for me, I think. We will do a daylight check-in in a bit to see how it looks out in daylight, but if you are any more fair than me, I think that it might be a little bit too dark. Current time is 2:13. Let's call it 2:15, and I'm gonna go put the rest of my face on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I had no trouble whatsoever blending concealer in with this foundation. I did end up setting it very, very lightly with the Maybelline Fit Me in Fair because the foundation stayed a little bit tacky, and I didn't think I was going to be able to blend powder products over it. Once I set it, it looked perfectly fine. Everything blended out wonderfully fine, no trouble whatsoever. The one issue I'm having is that it's starting to look sort of heavy and cakey in some areas. And to try and combat that, I went over everything with the damp sponge again, and then I did set it with the Pacifica Crystal Power Hydro Mist. This is a vegan, cruelty-free setting spray, gives nice hydration. There's no like glitter in it, anything like that. I'm really enjoying the setting spray, and that did tone down some of the cakiness, kind of helped everything melt together, if you will. But I can kind of see how this is like Well, my impression that you can kind of spackle your face, it's kind of like that. I feel like this would be one of those amazing kinds of foundation for, you know, a special event, a wedding, things like that, where you have to be wearing your face all day long. So I get why this would be a popular celebrity kind of foundation, you know, underneath hot lights, things like that. I'm not sure it's the kind of weight and consistency that I want to wear on my face on a daily basis. That said, I do think it looks very pretty, especially at a conversational distance. Like on the monitor here, it is looking smooth. Like I can see how this is like really nice in photography. I get why this is a celebrity popular kind of a product. But that's where I'm starting out right now. I will come back in a few hours with a daylight check-in. Let me tell you what I've got on the rest of my face. My eyes are the Bad Habit Aurora palette. This is a dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. I do have a quick little get ready with me on how I did this eye look. Keep an eye out for that. And tried out the CoverGirl Flourish mascara for the first time. It's one of those pokey kind of wand style mascaras. And usually I don't like them, but this is, I like the end result. It's a little bit less volume than I typically would like, but I really like how it distributed, like evenly distributed all of my lashes. My bronzer was the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It in Light. Blush is the Physicians Formula Natural Glow. I used the Kat Von D 10th Anniversary Metal Crush Highlighter in Gold School for a little bit of gold highlight going on here. And my lip is the Too Faced in Naked Dolly, a little sample size that I've got. So that is what we've got going on this mug. I will see you guys in a little bit, and I'll come back at the end of the night with my final thoughts. Hey everybody, it has been 5 hours and 4 minutes with the Bio-Fond foundation. So how is it holding up? Well, color match I think is really good for me, but this being the lightest shade, like I said, I think it might be a little bit dark for anyone paler than me. And let's see if I can get you guys close enough to see what's going on here. It's breaking up and looking pretty heavy on my chin and a little bit in between my eyebrows. Other than that, I feel like at a distance it looks okay, and the longer I'm wearing it, the more I feel like it looks like makeup. It looks like I spackled my face. And the spackling of my face, you know, looks okay. It looks nice and smooth, but it looks like makeup. And that's just something I keep noticing every time I catch a glimpse in the mirror of this one. So that is where we're at the 5-hour mark. It is still raining. I've lost count of how many days in a row it has rained here, which is just insane. I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind. I'll be back, hopefully with my mind, in a few hours for a final check-in. It's 1:11 a.m. That puts us minutes away from the 12-hour mark. So how is the Girda Spillmann Bio-Fond foundation holding up? At a conversational distance, I think it looks okay. It looks like I've been wearing makeup for 12 hours. My nose and chin are pretty significantly worn off. But other than that, at a distance, I'd say it looks okay. If we get in close, of course, the wear off on my chin is pretty significant. My nose is very significant. It's not only wearing off, but it has turned into polka dot pores, and I've got some caking going on around my nostrils. It's also breaking down around any movement lines, so my mouth wrinkles, my smile lines, every place that moves. If we go up in between my eyebrows, I've got product worn off and it's breaking apart along those movement lines. My blush bronzer highlight does seem to be mostly still intact. My forehead looks okay. This has not really settled into any lines. I didn't have any trouble with it accentuating lines. I think just in general, it's one of those foundations that it looks like the foundation that they cake on your face when you have a wedding. Like, is when I go to weddings and I see people get their makeup done professionally, like, this is the kind of makeup it looks like. And I get it. it's just not something I'd want to wear every day. It's not the look I want every day. That said, it's wonderfully comfortable. It's lightweight for as spackly as it looks. It is very lightweight. I would call it a lightweight foundation. Not the most lightweight foundation on the planet, but very lightweight. And it's comfortable. I don't feel like it's drying, but I'm seeing evidence of dehydration in my skin. So I would call it slightly drying to possibly not quite drying. It's very minimal, but it is just the slightest amount drying. Not so much that I feel it and I feel uncomfortable, but it is enough that I'm starting to see signs of dehydration in my skin. So I would go slightly drying. So if you are dry skinned, I think it's fine. It's not drying to the point where it's uncomfortable, and I think it's passable. If you've got maturing skin, it doesn't settle into lines. It does a pretty good job of smoothing texture, but it definitely looks like makeup. It looks like you are wearing makeup on your face. But if you need something that can hold up pretty decently for a 12-hour span of time, this did a pretty good job of holding up. And if I had to give a grade to the Girda Spillmann Bio-Fond foundation, I'm going to go low B-. I'm not a huge fan of the overall look, but that's a personal preference, and I think for what it is and what it claims to be, it does a pretty good job. I'd say if you've got dry skin or maturing skin, you've got an option here. I would recommend getting yourself a sample before splurging for the entire compact, but I'm going to go B-. That's where we're at with the Girda Spillmann Bio-Fond foundation. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not my favorite thing in terms of finish, but it is a pretty good looking foundation. There you have it. We are just rolling through this Foundation MegaFest. I really cannot believe how close we are to the end. But we still have a few more reviews, so hang in there until June 22nd, every single night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can always leave me suggestions in the comments down below for foundations you would like me to check out. I will add them to my list for future reviews. Check out my website, geekoutofwater.com. Click the Foundation Fest link. That'll take you to a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet of all of my foundation reviews. Remember, all of the reviews that are happening in this MegaFest, I will add those to the spreadsheet at the end of the MegaFest, so as to avoid spoilers on any of the upcoming foundation reviews. But I've got 80 plus reviews on there already, not counting these MegaFest reviews, so be sure to check that out and see if the ones you're interested in are on that list. If you'd like me to revisit a foundation that I've maybe reviewed a while back, leave that in the comments as well. I'm glad to check out any suggestions you guys have got. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.